Aryna Sabalenka has firm reaction to Ukrainian opponent not shaking hands at Australian Open. Following Aryna Sabalenka's semi-final clash at the Australian Open, her opponent Aryna Sabalenka chose not to shake hands with the women's number one at the net. Thread log in. Following Aryna Sabalenka's semi-final clash at the Australian Open, her opponent Aryna Sabalenka chose not to shake hands with the women's number one at the net. Due to the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Belarusian international Sabalenka is only permitted to compete under a neutral flag at Grand Slams. She defeated her Ukrainian opponent Svitolina in the semi-final down under 6-2, 6-3, but it was what happened, or didn't happen, after the game that has got many people talking. Prior to the conclusion of the matchup, the organizers of the Australian Open revealed a message on the screen stating, "At the conclusion of the match, there will be no handshake between the players. We appreciate your respect for both athletes during and following the match." The decision not to shake hands was debated by many, and following her victory, Sabalenka was asked directly about Svitolina's decision to snub the tradition. Sabalenka respected the decision from Svitolina, saying, "I'm not focusing on that, and they've been doing it for so long. It's their decision, and I respect that. And I have time right now to respect her." And, in the on-court interview, Aryna Sabalenka reacts to Australian Open defeat. Despite facing defeat in the semi-final, Svitolina spoke highly of Sabalenka and her performance during the clash. The Ukrainian was not directly asked about her decision not to shake hands with her opponent, but she did reveal that she was choosing to feel positive in spite of a bruising defeat because of the circumstances in her home country. "I feel like I should not be allowed to really be sad. I have a great position. Firstly, not just as a personal perspective, I have this amazing opportunity to play on the center court here, represent my country, to do it in a decent way, to have an opportunity to use my voice and just be there for my people. When I wake up in the morning, I see, of course, terrifying news. But then I see people watching my matches. They write comments, and I think it's a big exchange of positive emotions, so I cannot complain. The people are really living a horrible and terrible life in Ukraine, so I should not be allowed to really be sad because I am a very, very lucky person." As a result of her victory against Svitolina, Sabalenka became just the third woman to reach the singles final at the Australian Open in 4 consecutive years. The world number one also has the opportunity to reclaim her crown and become a 3-time Australian Open singles champion as she faces Kazakhstan international Aryna Rybakina in the final on Saturday. More than a match, Sabalenka, sport, and the power of respect, in the heart of Melbourne Park, under blazing sun and flaring emotions. Aryna Sabalenka, the Belarusian world number one and one of the fiercest competitors in women's tennis, confronted a moment that transcended sport. It was not the exchange of baseline blows, nor the thunderous roars from Rod Laver Arena that defined the afternoon. Instead, it came after the final ball was struck, in the absence of a handshake, a simple tradition in tennis that, at this moment, carried profound weight and meaning. The match was an authoritative performance by Sabalenka, culminating in a straight-sets victory over Ukraine's Aryna Sabalenka, a battle that earned her a spot in the 2026 Australian Open final. Yet the attention rightly shifted from the scoreline to something more symbolic, the refusal of Svitolina to partake in the customary post-match handshake, rooted in her nationality and beliefs. The handshake that wasn't to many tennis fans, the handshake is ritual, a gesture woven into the sport's tapestry, symbolizing mutual respect, professionalism, and closure after intense competition. But in politics and human conflict, a handshake can also be a battleground. Svitolina's decision not to shake hands, something she has consistently done in recent years when facing Russian or Belarusian opponents, was not a personal snub of Sabalenka herself, but rather a silent protest against the brutal war in Ukraine and the geopolitical realities tied to several nations' actions. And announcing the protocol, Australian Open officials even displayed a notice before the match that there will be no handshake between the players after the clash, urging fans to respect both competitors' positions. For Sabalenka, this presented a complex emotional terrain. She is Belarusian-born but competes under a neutral flag due to sanctions linked to the Russia-Ukraine war. That background adds layers to her interactions with Ukrainian opponents, layers that extend far beyond tennis. Sabalenka's response. Respect amid tension instead of escalation. Sabalenka chose a posture of measured respect and professionalism. Asked after the match about the handshake, she acknowledged that Ukrainian players have been opting out of this tradition for a long time, explaining that she respected that choice. "It's their decision and I respect that," she told reporters, emphasizing that she valued Svitolina's performance and character as a competitor. This response was not performative or reactive, it seemed reflective of her broader stance on the political situation. She doesn't support war, has publicly stated that she does not want her country involved in conflict, and underlines the importance of separating the individual athlete from national geopolitics. In a world often polarized by black and white narratives, Sabalenka's reaction stood out because it both acknowledged the gravity of global events and held firm to respect for her opponent as a human being and professional athlete. She didn't let the absence of a handshake become a point of contention. She used it as an opportunity to highlight sportsmanship over spectacle. Beyond a gesture, what the refusal signifies. Why did this moment resonate so deeply with fans and commentators alike? Because the handshake, or the refusal of it, became more than a tennis tradition. It became a symbol of ongoing pain, struggle, and identity. For Svitolina, declining to shake hands was not about personal hostility but about using her platform to amplify the voices and experiences of her countrymen, people enduring unimaginable hardship back home. In her own reflections after the match, Svitolina spoke not of bitterness but perspective. She said that given what her people face daily, terrifying news, suffering, disruption, the outcome of a tennis match feels far less consequential in comparison. Her choice wasn't meant to be disrespectful, it was a reminder of a larger story. This tableau, two elite athletes standing apart, competing fiercely yet silently acknowledging the weight of the world outside the lines, captured something essential about sport in the 21st century. Tennis, at its core, is about precision, grit, and athletic mastery. But it does not exist in a vacuum. It intersects with history, politics, identity, and empathy. Sabalenka's composure, a statement of character. Sabalenka has long been known not only for her powerful serve and ferocious baseline play but also for her emotional intensity on court. That intensity can be an asset, yet it has sparked controversy at times, from exchanges with umpires to expressive reactions in press zones. Yet here, faced with a situation loaded with emotional and political symbolism, she